Hi, this is Roland from PMI JCM Realty Group, where we manage properties from an asset management perspective. Today, what we're going to be talking about are tenant applications, right, and the tenant application process. 5 things to include with yours every time. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The best way to keep a bad tenant out is to not let them in. And it all starts with the tenant application process. Right now, we're working on partnering with some screening companies to help perform the due diligence because I've always felt like in order to make sure you have a good tenant, you have to go through every step. However, that can be very time consuming and it can become a roadblock or it becomes a hurdle that you have to go over. However, if you leverage third-party vendors that are able to perform those tasks on your behalf, it alleviates a lot of those issues for you, right? And so the first thing that we're going to talk about is keeping up with legal application requirements. Depending on the state you're in, there's certain questions you can't ask of tenants or prospective tenants. However, if you have your system already in place or you're leveraging a third party, you'll always make sure that you're always up to date with those questions. Also, make sure you stay close with your attorneys in your cities and your states because they'll be able to provide you guidance on what you can and can't ask and what can be in your application process. So make sure you're keeping up all the laws. Make sure you have a real estate attorney on your team, and you should be good to go with that. But make sure you always pre-screen your tenants because that's the best way to ensure that they are going to be able to meet your criteria. Next, get an authorization for background checks. For us, on all of our applications, there's a DocuSign that they have to sign, approving us to giving us authorization to perform their background checks. Generally, you are able to identify, if they've done anything in the past that may disqualify them from being in your property, but you have to make sure you get that authorization first. All the information won't be released to you. Third, make the calls and inquiries every time. This can be a very pain. This can be very painful to do, right? Making those calls. I mean, this admin task for me, at least, is generally one of the hardest parts. Which is why we're considering leveraging a third party to do it on our behalf. But you have to make sure that it gets done. You have to make sure you're calling the references. You have to make sure you're calling these businesses to validate the income and the background of these prospects. You have to do it every time because if you don't, someone's going to slip through the crack and cause you more harm than they're worth in rent. Watch for verbal and nonverbal responses. Make sure you have a conversation with these individuals. Having a conversation, you're able to hear things, what they say and they don't say, how they respond to questions. Those can be red flags that you can use to disqualify them as well, right? Having a conversation, how they maintain the property, why they left their last property, all those things are important when you're making decisions on a prospect. Lay out all the payments, deposit, and fees up front. A lot of times these things can go in the listing. Sometimes it doesn't, but definitely before they move in, you need to make sure you tell them all the payments, deposits, and fees so that they are aware of what it is that they need to pay before they move into the property. So if they decide that they want to change their mind, they can do so before they sign that lease agreement. And so your tenant application and vetting process are mission critical to your property success. Consider these insights to improve in how you accept and evaluate renters. And when you're ready to pass on this task to a professional, let PMI JCM Realty Group do the pre-screening for you. And we are always looking for ways to add value and provide information to our owners. We have a free webinar coming in that's going to show you how to streamline your rental property portfolio for maximum growth. This is a webinar you won't want to miss. Not only are we going to talk about this topic, but we'll show you how to guarantee your rent even if the tenant doesn't pay. And don't forget to go to our social media, our Facebook page. We have investors on that page that can help you with any questions that you have regarding your property. And if you want to speak to me directly, you can use the link on this article to put a meeting directly on my calendar. Otherwise, you can contact me through by phone at 813-333-9617. You can also email me at rcharles@pmijcmrealty.com. Thank you and have a great day.